Angra and Megadeth, two of the greatest rock bands in existence. What do they have in common? Multi-talented Brazilian guitarist, Kiko Loureiro. Now, Megadeth was one of the first heavy bands that I ever listened to, and I took a liking to them fairly quickly. If you're familiar with thrash metal or heavy metal in general, they need no introduction. And Angra are even higher on my list than Megadeth, sitting at the number 2 spot on my favorite bands list. Rafael Bittencourt and Kiko Loureiro's work in that band is on another level, let me tell you. So imagine my surprise when in 2015 it was announced that one of my top 10 favorite guitarists ever was leaving my second favorite band to join another one of my top 10 favorite bands. It blew my mind. I've always respected Dave Mustaine's guitar playing abilities to the highest degree, and if you're familiar with the numerous guitarists that have joined him in Megadeth over various points in the last 40 years, like Chris Broderick and the motherfucking man himself, Marty fucking Freeman, then you know Mustaine has a high-end taste in guitar players. Now, after 9 years, 2 albums, and 1 Grammy win, it seems that the day I dreaded has finally arrived. It looks like Kiko Loureiro's time in Megadeth has come to an end. Now, it hasn't been made public yet, but trust me, they've pretty much made it clear that his so-called extended leave of absence is really the end of his tenure in the band. Now, if I'm being completely honest, as much as I love Megadeth's music and admire Dave Mustaine's musicianship, the fact of the matter is the man has a well-known reputation of switching out band members on a regular basis, especially guitar players. So when Kiko joined in 2015, as delighted as I was about that, I joked with one of my best friends that it wouldn't last. Maybe a year, 2 at most if things went really well. I even said he would be more of a temporary touring guitarist, because I didn't expect him to stay in the band long enough to actually contribute to any new material. Well, fuck me, because I couldn't have been more wrong if I tried. He contributed to 2 really good Megadeth albums during his time in the band, 2016's Dystopia and 2022's The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, and ultimately helped Megadeth obtain their very first Grammy win. And after the release of 2013's Super Collider, the last thing any Megadeth fan expected was them going from whatever the hell that album was to a Grammy win in 3 years' time. Absolutely phenomenal turnaround, guys. I certainly did not expect Loureiro to stay in the band for the better part of a decade. I think Marty Friedman is the only one who's stayed for a similar amount of time. So, when the band announced that Kiko was taking a leave of absence a few months ago back in August of this year, to attend to family issues back home, I didn't think much of it at first. At this point, we're pretty much at the 10-year mark, and Mustaine said it was only going to be for a month and a half, and had nothing but praise for Loureiro the entire 9 years he was in the band. So I was like, alright, well, I wonder who the temporary replacement is going to be. To my surprise, it wasn't Broderick, or Friedman, or anyone previously associated with the band, but instead it was Teemu Maatasari, a very talented guitarist from Finland who I was already familiar with from the melodic death metal band Winter Sun. So I thought, okay, good choice. He'll do a great job of helping Mustaine hold it down until Loureiro returns. But then, after a few weeks, Dave Mustaine started acting like Dave Mustaine, and started making subtle comments that things may be headed down a more permanent road than we were initially led to believe. He started saying things like, oh well, with Teemu we're able to play some of the older Megadeth songs like Mechanics that Kiko wasn't too familiar with, since the current iteration of the band doesn't really perform any songs pre-Rust in Peace. And once he started making comments like that, I was like, yep, Maatasari's going to be the new guitarist. It's just a matter of time before they announce it. And then, a few days ago, lo and behold, Kiko's departure was all but confirmed, with Dave Mustaine releasing this following statement to the press. Kiko had to leave the tour last August to handle some very important and private family business. He was conflicted but appreciative when I told him that he needed to go take care of his family. He agreed but was still concerned about us, meaning the fans and Megadeth. He's a top-notch professional, a maestro, and he didn't want to hurt me or Megadeth. So we came up with a solution to find a fill-in for him during the time that he would be away, and that's when he presented and trained Teemu to take over for us. In the beginning, this was only going to be until the first week of October 2023. However, things rarely turn out the way they're planned. We've had many conversations with Kiko about this, and they've all been positive ones. He's going to remain on an extended leave of absence due to our heavy touring commitments next year, and we're going to continue to move forward with Teemu as the main guitar player for Megadeth. Not too long after this, Kiko released a similar statement basically reiterating what Mustaine had previously said. Now, while it's important to note that the term extended leave of absence is being used here, let's be realistic. This is Dave Mustaine we're talking about, so it's pretty safe to say this is a done deal. Especially when he goes on to thank Loureiro in the press release for his 9 years of work in the band, wishing him all the best in his future endeavors. So for now, it's safe to say we shouldn't expect to see much activity from Loureiro in the near future. So the question is, where does he go from here? Honestly, I always thought that he would go back to Angra at some point, because I didn't expect for him to stay in Megadeth this long. But after this much time, that's pretty much out the window. And to be fair, the guitarist who replaced him in Angra, Marcelo Barbosa, has done an excellent job on the last few Angra albums, so I highly doubt they're just going to let him go to bring back Kiko. But then again, you never know. We do have some examples of bands bringing back a previous guitarist while still keeping the replacement, with both Iron Maiden and Halloween being examples of that. So, wishful thinking, I guess. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for Kiko Loureiro, and I'll be sure to take note of every development as they come. Well, that's it for now, folks. Thank you for your time, take care, and be safe.